Oh, no one pressed the button. I'm not prepared at all.
I pushed the button!
We are live.
Yay! Alright. So, everybody's more or less ready to get started. Fanny Pack begins in 3, 2, 1. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fantastic adventure with the crew here at the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast ship USS Enterprise on the sea. I am PD Rave, your man with no plan. No idea how to introduce a podcast. Here with me, as always, is my co-compatriot, my partner, David Jeffrey Majors, aka DJM.
Sir, First Officer DJM reporting for Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast, sir. Beans and disease, everybody. The good ship Fanny Pack rides again. And this time, we're talking about Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Yes, the noted independent promotion out of Reseda, California. And tonight we're talking about Untitled II. But we have two brand new guests on the program, PD. We should introduce them, why don't we?
Yes, we have new friends, people that have never been on the podcast before. We have somebody who was introduced to us and recommended to us by our friend King Kaz. We have somebody from the DKG community representing dkgWELP. We have Shane C, aka Wulfegang. How you doing, Shane?
Doing great. Petty Officer Old Man Wulfegang Graybeard reporting for duty. I'll be representing the old man community of dkgWELP.
Yes.
But very glad to be here and can't wait to talk about some wrestling tonight.
And we shall. Deej, who else do we got on the show?
Well, tonight on the program we have a young cadet that I've taken a liking to over from the A3K network over at anime3000.com. Illustrator, writer, contributor, and future world dominator, Miss Jack D. Tyler D. What's going on, Jack Quellen? Welcome to Fanny Pack.
Thank you. All I gotta say is, cadet reporting, Beast Mode Jack, I am 140 pounds of folded steel and sex appeal. Let's talk about some wrestling.
Yes,
which I know nothing about.
I told you. She's got potential.
Yes.
She's got potential.
She's got it. That it factor.
That's good because I have nothing else to contribute.
Never stopped me.
Hey. Yeah, never stopped me either. I built an entire podcast network on Rock Band Mike and little to no potential and idea what I'm doing. And
but
here I am.
If you've got Rock Band, then just everything else just falls into place, like a Jenga.
Yes.
But it's gonna fall eventually.
Right.
It's a bad comparison.
All right. So this is kind of an unofficial contribution, I think a little bit of a ancillary contribution to the Awesome series in a way, just because anytime we bring up PWG, it's fairly awesome, and it's probably a contender for the Awesome series. We're talking about Untitled II, I guess the second iteration of the Untitled, just because, fantastic names for the PWG shows. What context could you give us for this show, Deej?
Well, this was the first show after the Battle of Los Angeles, PWG's yearly big indie tournament in Reseda, California. It's not in Los Angeles. It used to be, but they're still calling it the Battle of Los Angeles because close enough. And now, going out of it, Kyle O'Reilly is the PWG World Heavyweight Champion, and the main event of this match is O'Reilly taking on the winner, I believe. Double checking. I believe the winner of the Bola tournament, Roderick Strong.
Roddy Strong in the main event, but we had a bunch of fascinating matches, a bunch of great showdowns throughout the context. But before we talk about the matches, let me ask you, Shane, what expectations did you have coming into watching this event?
I have not watched a lot of independent circuit wrestling, the smaller tier wrestling stuff. I did get a chance to watch quite a bit of Wrestle Kingdom 9, and did get to see some people that are in Untitled II perform in Wrestle Kingdom 9 before that. So I was familiar with a couple of people. but was really looking forward to watching something I hadn't seen before, and looking forward to talking to it with you guys tonight.
One thing I've always said in regards to PWG, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, is that PWG has had a really strong string of luck with a lot of their talent. Kevin Steen, El Generico, a guy that some people say is the trainer of Sami Zayn, wink. The Young Bucks, who have made names for themselves in New Japan. And the list goes on and on from there. So I especially enjoy introducing more casual wrestling fans to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, because I really do think that it gives them a look into, as they say on NXT, the future.
Yes. And Jack D, what expectations did you have coming into this, and what were you thinking before you jumped in head first?
Well, let me see. It was called Untitled II, so I'd have to say not a goddamn thing. And then it started. And immediately going in, I'm always a fan of any place, any event, anything where you just have a nice, hyped crowd. And going in and just hearing someone's gonna kill you, I immediately think of all of my experiences prior, which have far less badass origins, but are nonetheless just as hype. Things like screenings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or premiere for big blockbuster action film. All that kind of stuff just brings me back to this, but this had to be one of the most action-packed adventures just from the first match. These two guys, and they keep... Yes. Oh, it was
the first match. So we started off with what you would say a lighthearted affair? Just kind of
Sure. Well, it started that way.
Lighthearted.
Hugs, man.
It started that way with the two competitors in the opening contest. Tommaso Ciampa, also known as the Sicilian Psychopath, taking on Biff Busick, also known as Franco Warwick. It's not Francis, it's Frank. This match started with just a straight-up hug-it-out sequence, shades and influence of the one and only Daniel Bryan. You thought I wouldn't be able to get a Daniel Bryan reference in on this show, but you're wrong.
You could probably get a Daniel Bryan reference in almost anywhere, in any show.
Yes.
No kidding. Shane, just this opening contest, this was your first intro into what Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is all about. Just a little bit of backstory. This is in their normal building in Reseda, California. This is the normal PWG crowd. Just first glimpse in, what was your take from this first match, just with these two and just the overall vibe of PWG?
When immediately, as soon as I started watching the video, you're thrown in. Here are the two guys. They're getting in the ring. Let's wrestle. So that was kind of new to me. The atmosphere was really great. It reminded me kind of, in a way, of where I'm an old man. Back whenever I used to watch, guys like the Rock and Roll Express. People close to the ring. People screaming.
Superstation?
Yeah.
On the Superstation?
Yeah.
All right.
Superstation. People close to the ring. People really getting into it. So that made me kind of happy. Kind of threw me back a little bit.
It has a great energy. PWG is always that PWG crowd. I would say a little bit contributed to by those pictures of Liquid you see them kind of holding up in the air.
Multiple pictures.
Yeah, multiple pictures. They're probably a little bit of pre-gaming, I would say. They have their own dark matches, crowd versus beer, before the contest.
And beer was featured in a couple of matches, I believe.
Yes.
At least one that I can remember.
Pretty strong in the finish.
My favorite appearance was Lollipop, but that's just me.
We'll talk about Lollipop in a bit, but the opening contest, Jack, what was your impression coming into these guys deciding that they want to kill each other?
Oh my god. Well, I'm not a complete stranger to wrestling. It just happens to mostly consist of fictional wrestling, so seeing it mostly for real, getting all up into each other's space. and having my own inner thoughts just actually being spoken out by the announcers. These guys are basically a mirror image of each other. Meanwhile, me, the completely lost noob, is sitting here thinking, these guys, I can't tell them apart. They're wearing the same damn thing. One's got a skull on his ass, one doesn't. What am I doing?
They actually pointed out on commentary that Tommaso Ciampa had a mohawk, and I hadn't noticed it until they pointed it out that he actually did cut his mohawk, and that's why I did not recognize him at first. I had kind of recognized Biff Busick, but then it was like, oh, that's... And then Excalibur, the commentator, said, Tommaso Ciampa, he cut his mohawk. It's like, oh, wow, that's so weird. He did cut his mohawk, and I really didn't recognize him for a second. But when it did get going, it really got to be really awesome. There was a lot of really crazy stuff in this match that really surprised me. PD, I will say, just between you and me, the finish in this and the ending sequence was just absurd.
Yes.
the term, and PD and Shane, I think you'll understand this too, it got pretty indie-rific in the last sequence. With the avalanche half Nelson suplex off the ropes, turning into a submission that turned into a rope break. That got into that territory where, okay, yeah, we're getting a little finisher crazy. It's indie wrestling. That happens sometimes. And then the match ended with a top rope power bomb, and that was like, Jesus, what are you doing? That was wow, that was insane. But
I'm willing to say that about 40% of all the matches were on the ropes. I'd like to say closer to 70% for that first match.
Yes, a little bit, depending on the thing, a little bit closer to that, which is odd because these guys are bruisers for sure. Tommaso Ciampa is a bruiser. He's a Sicilian psychopath for a reason, and Biff Busick is, he has proven time and time again.
Biff Busick is something of a technician. He is. In a lot of ways, I would compare him to Kyle O'Reilly. There are similarities with his work and Kyle O'Reilly's. So for these two to be going out and having this crazy match with all of these finishers, like something out of mid-90s All Japan Pro Wrestling, it was really something to watch. And just the finish being a top rope powerbomb. I cannot recall the last time I've seen an actual top rope powerbomb. I really don't remember the last time I've seen something like that because it's so dangerous.
I was very impressed and happy to see, you see these two guys come out and you think, well, they're just going to kind of, be brawlers. They're going to kind of go at maybe a lot of, clotheslines, spinning lariats, things like that. And then they start going off the ropes, and then they start getting athletic, and then they start stringing together moves, and you're like, there's, a lot more to these guys than people probably think if they first see them. And I was really happy to see that. And then the end, just when they just started, just finisher, death, finisher, holy fuck, or excuse me, holy crap.
I didn't curse on that show.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
But I was like, I'm probably going to really enjoy this.
This ain't your daddy's wrestling.
That is one thing that Pro Wrestling Guerrilla does better than any wrestling company on the planet. And PD, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Nobody does an opening match just to open the show better than Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. No other promotion at any level in the world does this better than PWG. One thing I've always believed is that the opening match on the show can be as important as the main event. Mm-hmm. And PWG does a fantastic job of this on literally every single show they do, whether it's a really hot tag team match or a match like this. This definitely did not disappoint.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, on Record Breakers, a completely different analogy, the Record Breakers thing we have, where somebody will, when we talk about tracks, we'll always talk about the opening track. There's somebody that will always bring up the opening track because in wrestling, just like any medium, how you begin, how you introduce yourself, how do you say hello, is one of the most important things, and especially in wrestling. Wrestling, the first match can always be, like DJM said, can be as important as the main event. But then we get into the second contest, Deej, the second contest, Cedric Alexander versus Bobby Fish.
I will say two of the most underrated guys on the scene today. Bobby Fish, one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions and former IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions with Kyle O'Reilly. His name's going to keep coming up because he's really, really good.
Yeah, Bobby Fish is one of the gentlemen that I had recognized from Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Yeah.
You have to love the mustache, first off.
Oh, he looks like a straight-up pugilist out of the night.
I mean, you want him to put on, like, the waist-high tights, and get in the, like, pugilist fighting stance.
Pugilist, Tommy Ray Hadley.
And
also, if you guys ever get a look, he wears a mouth guard, and his mouth guard has fangs.
Oh, my God.
It's wonderful.
And the name Bobby
Bobby Fish, who you recognize from Wrestle Kingdom, and apparently somebody from the crowd recognized from Aladdin.
Straight
because they exclaimed, "Why were you so mean to Aladdin?"
Oh my God, the crowd was amazing.
And again,
Bobby
the
Jafar
totally
Fish.
underrated Cedric Alexander, who is a slightly less charismatic ACH, but still very, very good. Petey, here's something that I found out that absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah.
How old would you guess Bobby Fish is?
14. I don't know, 26?
Bobby Fish is 38 years old.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, it makes me feel like crap.
He's just like, as good as he's been, like in the last year or so, as a part of Red Dragon with Kyle O'Reilly, that is crazy. I mean, honestly, I've known Bobby Fish to be, in and out of the indie scene and in Japan for years and years and years, but for him to really be catching on now is really something. And I really enjoyed this between him and Cedric Alexander. I really love both of these guys. I'm especially happy to see Cedric Alexander actually get the win.
Yes. Jack D, what was your impression seeing these two guys? I know you had a fun comment on Twitter about Cedric Alexander. You can go ahead and repeat it and talk about your thoughts.
Oh yeah, it's great that someone recognized Bobby Fish from Aladdin because I recognize Cedric Alexander from Dive Kick. Just fucking sorry, just going in.
Dive Kick.
Like there was a full minute where all he was doing was just coming out with a drop kick, and I think this was probably one of my favorite matches from this. I mean, they're all really good. I really love the tag team stuff, but this, oh man, there was a lot of back and forth, which I really liked. There was a lot of out of the ring stuff, and there were the drop kicks.
The drop
kicks. Fantastic.
I wish the match would have went on a little longer.
I think so too. That would have been really interesting to see.
Seemed a little short
what else could happen.
Compared to a lot of the other matches from the night, especially the last match. That went on forever, which was great.
So they had some great. They were really, really boisterous personalities. Really, really high energy. I love how I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yes.
But yeah.
It's that wrestling high, Jack.
Oh man.
It's okay. It happens.
It's okay.
Terminology words.
You're getting your fix.
That's amazing. And the thing, and they did the thing, and oh my god, and they God, and they went with this way. Oh my god. DJM and I have had these,
Oh yeah.
Multiple times. Shane, what were your thoughts on the match, kind of overall?
Well, like I said, was a little short for me. Would really have loved to have seen more of these two guys working together.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like Jackie said, a lot of dive kick stuff.
I'm waiting for the tag team match between ACH and Cedric Alexander against Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yes.
If that has not happened already, it has to happen, and it will probably be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I imagine if you want to get a chance to check these guys out together, you probably could in Ring of Honor. I haven't seen
Ring of Honor. I'm surprised it hasn't happened in Ring of Honor already.
Yeah,
by the way, once again, mentioning it once again, if you're not watching Ring of Honor, go ahead and start checking them out. They're actually really, really good again. Ring of Honor is really good again. So
it's on the upswing now.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a fantastic contest. But then we get into the next one. And let's say, Deej, well, I'll ask the guys. I'll ask either one of you guys can interject.
I actually, Petey, if I may, I actually do want to lead this one in.
Okay, go ahead.
If I may, in which we saw Brian Cage, best known recently for tearing people's arms off in Lucha Underground on Wednesday nights, taking on Uhaa Nation, best known from his work in Dragon Gate USA, and apparently getting signed by WWE and is supposed to show up in Florida any day now. He was signed, but then he supposedly wasn't, then now he was. He's supposed to have been signed. He's supposed to be at NXT any day now. But yeah, in the meantime, we got this awesome match between these two. Both really huge dudes, and also the caveat being both of them being freakishly athletic.
Yes.
To the unfamiliar with Uhaa Nation, freakishly athletic does not do him justice. Same for Brian Cage. If you are a fan of Lucha Underground, you've already seen what he's capable of. It was the phrase that Excalibur, the commentator, coined himself when he said, Brian Cage is a fucking machine. And
Yes.
that's not hyperbole. And
Yes. And I
Uhaa
have to-
Nation, he has the strength of a nation, as it has been said. And this match, for as much as I love flippy indie guys that are small and super athletic and do all sorts of flips and kicks, this match was my favorite on the show because it was... And not only because they were just so crazy strong and athletic. Petey, I don't know if you caught on to this, but they actually worked the crowd really well.
Yes.
They were actually working the crowd really well. Because I think the crowd was pretty much in the same spot I was, where you had Brian Cage and Uhaa Nation. You kind of want to see these two do a test of strength spot. It's so old school, but these two are both freaks of nature, so you want to see it.
Yes. And I have to ask, and what I wanted to ask, when you guys first saw the guys, completely uninitiated, and any of these who can interject, did you expect an incredible show of athleticism? Did you expect an athletic showdown?
Not even close. You see Uhaa Nation, first thing, I see the guy's name, and I'm like, he's a nation of one. Okay, well, that's interesting. And he comes out, and the big guy, and you're like, this, excuse me.
I love when people think this when they see Uhaa for the first time. And Brian Cage. Excalibur said it, like, these two are practically mirror images of each other, except for, But sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you see these guys come out, and you're like, well, previous couple matches we've had, a lot of rope stuff, quite a bit of acrobatic, flying around the ring stuff. This is just going to be a beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be two guys that just hit each other a lot, and whoever, is alive at the end is going to be the winner.
I got two
That's all
words
you're
for
gonna
you
see.
guys. 2 words. Suplex. Oh, when they did get to the ropes, there was some gravity. There was some gravity happening, and these guys are huge. That cannot be comfortable at all.
You can call this contest. You can call this contest wicked because they were defying gravity.
Yes, they were. You have that much mass being able to be lifted, but then you think, well, that mass has to come down on a mat.
Especially when you're suspending them for so long. You're just letting them hang there. When that happens, it's going to be even worse. It's a scientific law that is proven to become the equation of utter and absolute bone-shattering pain.
It was something that Diamond Dallas Page once said. You cannot fake gravity.
Yes.
No,
and I have to ask, the things like Brian Cage deadlift suplexing Uhaa Nation from the outside to the end. It's something that I would say DJM and I would not be not completely unfamiliar with because he did it with Michael Elgin, but I imagine you guys must have been completely thrown off when you saw that. like just that man throwing that man just pure strength over his head. Yeah, it just comes out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, there was so much stuff that spilled over into the crowd. Went out into the into the chairs and stuff, and I was like, how do you do? Watching these two guys, are they just going to throw the other one back in under the rope, like you usually see? Are they going to make them climb up stairs onto the posts and throw them down, or they're going to hit them with a chair and make them go back into the ring or something? And he picks him up and he throws him. And the only thing I think is how. Just how? It doesn't seem physically possible.
Brian Cage gets his shit in.
And you should see how he's absolutely destroying people on Lucha Underground. If you have the El Rey network or want to download it, he is an absolute monster in every sense. And man, if Uha has been signed and he is going to NXT, he's just going to make NXT that much better.
The man does a standing moonsault, standing shooting star combo, and he looks like that.
And he's built like a tank.
Yeah, exactly. He is just...
You have this giant guy, pulling off these stuff you usually see, luchador, a lot of Japanese wrestling type moves. Some of the old Kidman, Eddie Guerrero type stuff, and it's just amazing to see because he's so big.
Remember, Dragon Gate loved him. Like, Dragon Gate was absolutely ready to just give him the world and make him a megastar in Japan, but I guess WWE got to him first, apparently.
Yes.
I think we need to point out.
WWE. Yeah, maybe his Japanese lessons didn't quite work out as quickly as he'd like.
Couldn't build his rage meter.
Not everyone can be Kenny Omega and learn Japanese as thoroughly as they can. But yeah, that was an incredible.
This was
contest
my match of
between
the night. It really was.
Yeah, and then we go into another fun showdown. We have a tag team contest. We have the first tag team contest of the evening, a showdown for the tag team champion. We have the undisputed world's cutest tag team, also holding the titles of the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla World Tag Team Champs, defending against the team formerly known as, or at least elsewhere known as Fist.
Friends in similar tights. But they were not in similar tights this evening.
So therefore they can't be called Fist. There are Johnny Gargano and Chuck Taylor.
And Petey, this is the part of the Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast where DJM says, "Can somebody please sign Chuck Taylor already? Please."
Yes.
Long overdue.
We have yes, long overdue. Just somebody, anybody. He's a quick learner. He can learn a lot of things. He's smart. He can do video production for you while he's wrestling. He can do a lot of things.
Taxes.
He's a smart guy. But yeah, tag team contest. Championship tag team contest. Deej, what context could you give to this contest?
Well, Candice LeRae and Joey Ryan are the hosts of the Candice and Joey Show, appropriately enough, where on their travels in the world of independent wrestling, they sit and chit-chat with various personalities across the wrestling scene. Joey Ryan is one of the original stalwarts of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, known as the PWG 6, one of the 6 original owners of PWG. And he is currently tag team champions with Candice LeRae. Sort of I would almost say, Petey, she might be the most popular performer in PWG history that was not a luchador pretending to be from Tijuana, but is actually from Montreal.
I would say it's close.
The only person that might be in PWG history that might be more popular than Candice LeRae is El Generico, who of course is no longer with us. And her tag team partner Joey Ryan, again one of the PWG originals, so he is beloved for life. He's been all over the world. He's done matches on TV with WWE. He was with TNA for a little while, and he's back in PWG holding things down as one half of the tag team champions. Chuck Taylor, of course, again, I say again and again, he's one of the most entertaining guys on the indies. I really wish someone would sign him. Johnny Gargano is pretty good, I guess.
It was more the Chuck Taylor show for me.
My stomach is boiling saying that. But I guess the story that came into this match, for those that don't know, Candice LeRae is dating Johnny Gargano. So that kind of played into this match.
This is awkward. This is awkward.
They had fun with it throughout the contest, and I think that was really cool. Of course, Joey is also the wielder of the boobplex, and Candice, in turn, is wielder of the dickplex. We didn't get to see the boobplex because Johnny Gargano doesn't have boobs, and Chuck Taylor only sort of has boobs. At least not anymore. He used to, but not anymore. He's not Chris.
Just wait till that next operation kicks in. He'll be fine. He'll have some boobs.
But yeah, tag team contest. I'll have to ask you, Jack. What did you think of the world's cutest tag team and Chuck and Johnny?
Oh boy, they definitely had their way with the crowd. I mean, starting off with Lollipop. First off, I think we need to mention the Lollipop.
Yes, the blow pop. For those uninitiated, Joey Ryan's thing, especially lately, is his blow pop, in which he will offer anybody that is willing his blow pop, because he needs to put it somewhere once the match starts, and he decides, well, it's going to be in somebody else's mouth, and many times it will be in a member of the audience's mouth, and so he gives somebody a blow pop. But yeah, Jack, go on.
Okay, so after that. And we get some great fighting starting out, but once Candice got tagged in, I did not expect. I mean, I knew wrestling was still going to be happening. I didn't expect them to just start a tea party or nothing like that. What did I expect? Mary fucking Poppins? But we get these incredible moves coming from this comparatively tiny woman. It was it was exceptional. And from then on out, everything had a nice momentum. It was definitely a treat to watch, and I really enjoyed the standoff. Oh man.
Yeah, the standoff. And Shane, what were you thinking through this contest?
Well, I mean, we've seen gimmicky stuff in the WWE before. Of you've got China pairing up with a member of DX to have a guy-girl match, or other things like that. And this was probably my favorite match of the night, just because of the fact that I think I have seen Candice LeRae somewhere else in another promotional. Was she on NXT?
No, I wouldn't say NXT.
I've seen her somewhere.
Shimmer, Shine, most likely one of the women's promotions. Shine, Shimmer, WSU.
It may have been Shimmer. I was like, oh, this, I hope this doesn't get too cheesy. I'm really hoping, excuse me, it's not going to be like Joey Ryan in for most of the match, and then she'll only be tagged in, whenever Gargano or Chuck Taylor's, like hurt and almost down, and she comes in and starts flying around the ring.
Yes.
And she was probably one of the most technical wrestlers that I had seen that night, that I wasn't, expecting from. The Hurricane Ranas, the off the top rope. She was just flying all over the place, going out of the ring, going over, through the. I was very happy to see that they actually utilize her in a wrestling capacity and not just a gimmick.
Yes. She's one of the she's absolutely fearless in so many of her matches, and I love the way they utilize her and the way you should utilize somebody that's a women's wrestler. It's simple. They lack weight and leverage, but they do not lack technique and skill. That's the idea. All you have to do is say they lack weight and leverage, but they make up for it with their technique, skill, or speed. Unless they're, say, Awesome Kong or Jessica Havoc.
Vanessa Craven.
Or Vanessa Craven. Then you can kind of have them stack up and be the powerhouse. But most of the time, it's just as simple as that. That's all you got to do. They only lack weight and leverage, and they can do it in other ways. And that's what they did with Candice LeRae. She used her skill, she used her smarts, she used her speed, and she used her willingness to just go all out, just to win, just throw herself every which way, and it was fantastic. Candice.
And I was going to say, and Taylor and Gargano, they seem to play well off of. I was really impressed how well they kind of interact and play well off of, excuse me, Joey and Candice.
Chuck Taylor, again, is absolutely fantastic.
He was hilarious.
One of the best on the indies. I truly, truly believe that.
He was very entertaining as well.
And Johnny Gargano is a PWG regular, and again, he's linked romantically to Candice, as they said, and so he is more than familiar with her work and her style and the stuff she does. So when I saw this match on the card, it was a no-doubter in my mind.
But yeah, entertainment-wise and technical-wise, this was probably my favorite match of the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a fantastic tag team contest, and it was fun. It was I always love seeing Johnny. I always love seeing Chuck Taylor, and I like seeing him. I like seeing Johnny Gargano with him. And I like seeing Johnny Gargano as on his own as well.
He's trying.
I like him just fine. I'm not gonna say I'm in love with him, but I like him just fine, and doing when he's doing his thing. And I adore the world's cutest tag team. They've earned that title. Because not only is Candice LeRae an ass kicker, but she's downright adorable, and so is Joey Ryan. Let's not undercut Joey Ryan's adorableness. He is downright adorable.
Keeping it sleazy since 2004.
He is a very cute man. So.
He is. Mm-hmm. He's petite.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If I woke up in bed and he was next to me,
Petey,
with a blow pop,
I would wait.
Stop, Petey. Remember,
I would wait till he woke up.
Petey, it's still Joey Ryan. It's still Joey Ryan. Remember, you and I have seen a good portion of Joey Ryan's career. I'm not going to let you finish that sentence.
I thought you were going to end your sentence a little differently than that, David. We have both seen majority of blank. This became magical all of a sudden.
Let's remember how the Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae tag team formed. Let's remember that, Petey. And I'm not going to let you finish that sentence.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But yeah, fantastic tag team contest. All right, then we get into a kind of a cool little singles contest. We have the former PWG World Champion Adam Cole taking on a relative newcomer in Trevor Lee. Trevor Lee, who I've never seen before.
This was my second time seeing Trevor Lee at a PWG show. He seems to have caught on out of nowhere, just boom, just burst onto the scene out of nowhere. He's been winning big matches out of nowhere. He placed high in the Battle of Los Angeles out of nowhere, and just he's caught on with a lot of things that have been happening with PWG, guys getting signed, some contractual things with Ring of Honor, and all of a sudden, Trevor Lee was the guy that's really kind of caught on. Also, Adam Cole, who I honestly believe Adam Cole is the closest thing the indie scene has seen to a CM Punk in a very long time. in a perfect world, in a couple of years, Adam Cole will be on Monday Night Raw, hopefully inciting a riot, because he's got a little bit of CM Punk, he's got a little bit of Ric Flair, and he's really come into his own, and he's fantastic. And this was really good.
You gotta love the Bay. Hey, Bay.
Hey, Bay.
They both got great charisma, I can say that. They both definitely work it like they are not in an indie, and more along the lines of more mainstream wrestling. Very, very exuberant.
Yeah.
Also, Petey, during the match on commentary, there was a point in this match where Chuck Taylor was on commentary, and Adam Cole he killed a hope spot for Trevor Lee, and he looked at the hard camera, and Chuck Taylor pointed it out. Oh, at the hard camera, the kid's a pro. The kid's a pro. Yes. But that's because Adam Cole, he is a former Ring of Honor World Champion, and that says it all right there. Just the list of guys who have held that title. He's been on pay-per-views. He's been in Japan. He's done it all. Adam Cole. There's really what can't you say about Adam Cole? And Trevor Lee more than held his own. This was I had not seen much of him, but I'm starting to believe in what people see about Trevor Lee.
Yes. Shane, what did you think? Yeah, Trevor Lee. Shane, what did you think of this contest?
I was really entertained by the way that people were really behind Trevor Lee. Because when they started announcing, former champion Adam Cole, and Adam, I could definitely see where you'd say Adam Cole could be the next CM Punk kind of personality. Inciting chaos, dropping mic bombs. And then, Trevor Lee, people are just going crazy for this guy. And, unfortunately...
Nobody doesn't love Trevor Lee.
And unfortunately, I wasn't sure, how popular he was in the wrestling
brand
scene.
New, too. Brand new.
Well, I didn't know that. You couldn't tell from the way the crowd reacts to him. And the way he feeds off them, and they, feed off of him. And I was just like... Well, this guy must be pretty big, must have been around for a while, because people love him and Adam Cole for the same reason. But they were both were really entertaining, as well as good wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a cool contest, and it was a good showcase for Trevor Lee, who worked well, and it was. Oh, it's always fun to see Adam Cole being himself.
Panama City Playboy.
Yeah, Panama City Playboy. It just. The way and this is the beauty of, and it's an indie thing of being so at crowd level and them being able to hear you. It's that banter and that playing off of the crowd, but vocally, without having to yell. Like you don't have to have a fear.
Adam Cole does that extremely well. I would say the only guy that does that better is Chuck Taylor, and before those two. It was a guy that's the current NXT champion, Kevin Owens.
Yes, Kevin Owens. Yes.
The betrayer, Kevin Owens.
Again, another former ROH World Champion.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. And then this was a good showcase. It was a good singles contest.
What I'm saying is Adam Cole should be signed any day now.
I would love to hear him do promos.
Very good.
I think he would do some great promos.
He's very, very
He does. He does very much so.
Better than Roman
Reigns. But then it leads into a fantastic, the second tag team contest of the night. We have the incomparable, the inimitable Matt and Nick Jackson, Action Matt and Slick Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, taking on ACH and AR Fox, the incredibly insane AR Fox,
and the not quite as insane APH.
But not quite. I mean,
they complete each other.
It's a little insane. Yes, they complete each other. In a tag team contest, Deej, give us some context. Give us some idea of who these guys are.
Well, again, Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks. If you know anything about independent wrestling, and you don't know who the Young Bucks are at this point, you've clearly been living under a rock for like the last 4 years.
Under the rock, yes.
Well,
You've been living
actually,
under the
I think The Rock might be a fan of the Young Bucks too.
Yes.
If there is kind of that title of being the king of the indies right now, that was kind of left when El Generico mysteriously disappeared. It was kind of taken up by the Young Bucks. They are PWG's tag team champions emeritus. They are New Japan Pro Wrestling's wonderful heel section of the Bullet Club, and they're wonderfully obnoxious. They're Jim Cornette's least favorite wrestlers on the planet, and that makes me love them even more. And again, the only reason they're not in WWE right now is because they turned them down because they're independent.
That's
and
incredible.
That's amazing. And New Japan is doing really well recently. New Japan is doing extremely well financially. So, the Young Bucks.
They're on the payroll.
And on the other end, you've got ACH, Attitude, Charisma, and Heart, who I think that in a year or so, that kind of title of King of the Indies that was left by El Generico, if it's not the Young Bucks, I think it might be ACH. I think he's got that chance. And AR Fox is insane, a extremely athletic high flyer, who we're all afraid might kill himself one of these days with some of the stuff he does.
Yes.
I loved AR Fox, except whenever he landed on his forehead.
Yes.
Yeah.
That scared the crap out of me.
Not the first time he's done that.
Dead.
At some point, he does die in this contest, and then the ghost of AR Fox finishes the contest for him.
It was
I
thought he's gone.
This is not the first time I've seen that happen with him.
Yes, he's been resurrected so many times. He is a literal comic book character. Between the times he's died and have been resurrected.
If he were in Lucha Underground, I would say he's probably Phoenix under that mask.
You never know.
Does resemble Doctor Strange a bit.
Yes. He tries to kill himself 5 seconds into the match.
Oh my god.
He goes 5 seconds into the match. Jack D.
Yes.
What was your impression of this contest? I know you had a reaction when we mentioned the Young Bucks earlier. What was your impression of this contest?
Oh, okay. It was vicious, but it's more vicious in the sense of kind of like childhood cruelty. So I'm looking at this and thinking, like, these guys are the equivalent of a pair of Dennis the Menace.
Yes.
People are being dropped, they're being thrown, they're being flung, and in the middle of it all, we then get crotch humping. That's what else can you say?
That is something that the Young Bucks do. They do a lot of the NWO stuff because that's what the Bullet Club does in Japan, and they do the DX crotch chops. They do it in the best way to describe the Young Bucks is that they are extremely meta. They are truly meta pro wrestling. They have taken it to a very postmodern, ironic level, and
they're very self-aware.
They are
very
extremely self-aware.
Very aware of
They are a meta version of indie wrestling. They are the meta equivalent, the version of indie wrestling. They're all about the super kicks and the flippy flops, and they do it unabashedly.
And even though they're heels, everyone loves them.
I did not know they were heels.
Exactly.
That's how we play it off.
Even the half of the crowd that is yelling "fuck the Young Bucks" loves them. They're just in contribute. They just know that that's part of the chant. It has to go. You
just have to do
Young
it.
Bucks, fuck the Young Bucks. It's standard, but they still love them.
I was able to catch these were a couple of other guys that I was able to catch at Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Yes.
And I learned all about the Bullet Club and all that stuff. So I wasn't sure how they played coming into this match. If if they were the same personas and all, and then of course they start,
Basically
and
the
it's just
same.
like they are just crazy.
Mhm.
It's like, setting up for, a pile driver, but before that, hey, I'm going to super kick you.
Mm-hmm.
Although we did not see the Meltzer driver.
Don't know what that is, but it sounds great.
It sounds
We saw the Indie Taker. It was the assisted tombstone.
Yeah, I saw that one.
But the Meltzer driver is the assisted tombstone, but with a flip.
Nick, the blonde one, does a springboard 450 into the assisted tombstone. That is the Meltzer driver, named after the noted writer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer, the man that coined the 5-star match.
Yes. And this was a lot of fun. And we didn't see the Meltzer driver. We got the Indie Taker. We got a lot of great moments. We saw AR Fox die again.
Yep.
And then we saw him in the match posthumously. Almost valiantly. We
got to see ACH do his anime stuff.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
I heard a reference to that.
Yes.
When he first started out, he had a ring jacket and pants that were exactly like Goku's from orange jumpsuit from Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
He is like yours truly, a practitioner of the otaku style. So
yes.
I appreciate
get that reference, but I was like, that might be fun to look up, because they're talking to this guy with anime. I don't see.
Oh
it.
yeah.
I've got to find out what this is about.
If there was ever a team that could face them, it was the Young Bucks, because they're both crazy.
They're both crazy, and they're both awesome. They're both crazy awesome.
Crazy awesome. That's a good way of putting it.
This right here is why I love indie wrestling. This whole show, and including the main event.
Yes, the main event contest. Putting the challenger, Roderick Strong, and the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla World Champion, Kyle O'Reilly, not Riley O'Kyle of Wrestling is Serious fame, but Kyle O'Reilly. This was a throwdown. This was a showdown, Deej, was it not?
It most certainly was. Also, shout out to the crowd in Reseda for putting together the whole O'Reilly Auto Parts thing. That really got a kick out of me. I really thought that was funny.
Oh,
but
please.
This was absolutely fantastic. Just from start to finish. Kyle O'Reilly, I said on the last episode that I'm really enjoying Red Dragon, him and Bobby Fish, and I'm really starting to see, like, for a while when it came to Kyle O'Reilly, I didn't quite get it, but now I'm starting to come around on Kyle O'Reilly, and this match with Roderick Strong, who in his own right is kind of an indie wrestling icon in this day and age. He slapped Kurt Angle in the face once on SmackDown, which was amazing, and
he once chopped Adam Cole in the cock.
Yes, that's right. Yes, he did.
We talked about it on the show.
He just wanted to make hot dogs.
And this was, as you said, Petey, this was a low down throwdown, and it was wrestling in the purest sense.
These men wanted the title, but more than anything else, they just wanted to kill each other.
Fighting dirty.
They're fighting dirty. Jack T.
Yes.
What was your impression of the main event?
Damn. When you get the competitors breathing heavy from the get-go before they even do a damn thing, and then the challenger is running out of the ring every 5 seconds while the champion approaches him, you know that this is going to be very, very violent. Oh, it was exciting.
It was hyped. It definitely had the hype. These two guys can throw down for sure. Shane, what was your impression of the main event?
I have no idea how two men can just wail on each other for that amount of time and not both collapse from exhaustion. Because this match went a lot longer than I thought it would from when it started out. Because these guys are just going to wear each other out way too fast, and it's going to be a slaughter. And they just kept going, and they kept going, and they kept going. And I was like, this is amazing. You know, I want to see more of this.
They both pass out.
Yeah, they just both pass out and double count out, and but you know, I love seeing the technical, you know, wrestling, the technical stuff. I like seeing the high flying stuff, but then you just get these two brutes that are just going at it, and both of them, you can tell both of them want to win, and then at the end, you know, when it's over, and I was tired after watching the match. I was like, I need a nap. This just went on way too long. 'Cause I don't know how they did it. But it was probably my second or third favorite match of the night, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I really enjoyed about this? The finish.
Oh, God.
Kyle O'Reilly won the match with a triangle choke, and it wasn't like an overly long, drawn-out submission sequence. When Kyle O'Reilly really got it locked in, Roderick Strong tapped immediately.
Oh, he immediately, as soon as he got it locked in, he immediately started tapping out.
Which is how a triangle choke should be.
Works.
Because Kyle O'Reilly does MMA. So everyone knows that he knows MMA. He is a disciple of Davey Richards. He's a disciple of the man formerly known as Bryan Danielson. So he knows that stuff. And that's the way that should be done. And I love that they did that way. That does not happen on TV, and that's how it should be done. That's why when I see the MMA influenced stuff on TV, I always kind of cringe at it a little bit because it's not anywhere remotely realistic. But with a guy like Kyle O'Reilly who knows that so well, that to me was absolutely perfect. I really liked the finish of the match and how it went afterwards. The ensuing chaos afterwards.
And the triangle chokehold came out of nowhere. I mean, it was just, and he's got it in and tap. And I was like,
wow, it was immediate. All right, checkmate. It's like checkmate. Like it's like it was exactly that. And then, of course, afterward, that poor ref. I also love in the moment how everybody got the moment Roderick Strong caused harm to the original referee. Everybody immediately was behind him. But then the moment and rightfully so, the moment he caused harm to Rick Knox, everybody was completely against him. Like, all right, we were okay with you hurting that other guy, but Rick Knox is our boy.
Not allowed.
Don't do that.
I mean, he could hang on his own.
That's why I say, Petey, I've said this, Rick Knox, greater sign Bryce Remsburg.
Yes. Yes, Rick Knox. And I love the fact that he's on Lucha Underground. When I first noticed it was Rick Knox, I was like, Rick Knox! Yeah! I marked out for the referee in Lucha Underground just because it's Rick Knox, you know? You gotta love the guy.
And then you see Brian Cage kill somebody.
Yes.
Exactly.
Probably AR Fox.
Yes.
Just out of nowhere, AR Fox appears and dies. And that has nothing to do with the match. That's just what happens.
And then his reanimated corpse continues the match. The ghost of AR Fox.
Is immortal.
But yeah, Jack, what did you think of like the finish, like the ending game, the end game of it?
Oh damn! I do have to say, referee got knocked the fuck out. And I did expect there to be a big finish because being a championship match, or against the champ anyway, I knew there was going to be a big bang, but I don't know. I had a lot of wincing during the middle of that just because it was so painful looking.
Yeah. There was a lot of moments where it looked legitimately stiff. Like they just were wailing on each other, and like, do they know they're in a wrestling ring? Do they know it's Christmas?
Are they actually fighting?
It's the modern indie style, guys. That's the magic. That's the magic of pro wrestling and the modern indie style.
At one point, they weren't even in the ring, so of course they wouldn't remember they were in a ring. Just smacking each other upside, and
they were just at a bar in Reseda. It was just like
it was brilliant.
Bar brawl at that point.
It was
Yeah.
honestly just, you just imagine they're both, fuck all you guys. I gotta finish him again. Just
Grabbing
smack down.
glasses and smashing each other side the head and
Yeah.
breaking
Which
pool
has happened
cues,
in PWG before.
breaking
Oh,
pool cues
man.
on their backs.
They both showed up angry and drunk.
Presumably that involved Drake Younger,
Now refereeing on NXT.
There you go.
who was fantastic. That was I don't know if did you read that write up that they gave Drake Younger on WWE.com?
Oh yeah. It was terrific, and they actually had a little video about talking with him and some of the stuff that he did, back in the day and in CZW, and meeting Dean Ambrose as well,
Yeah.
since they were both deathmatch guys, and you can't help but be happy for Drake not having to kill himself anymore.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah, and he's just the fact that he's just a genuinely good guy, like with one of the most sweetest smiles in the game. But yeah, PWG. We had a grand main event and we had a grand event overall. And I'll ask you guys at the end of the day, your impressions of the show overall. I'll start with you, Jack D. What was your impression of PWG and this event?
I expected a good, clean match, and I got a lot of the complete opposite, and was not disappointed in the least. Everybody had a great personality. They were all working the crowd really nicely. The fights were, for the most part, good length. There were a lot of interesting moves going on, and at the end of the day, I think it was a nice balance between, here's a lot of crazy acrobatic stuff, and here's just some brawling and some suplex and some throwdowns. It was really a nice, I think a nice balance, nice smorgasbord.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, what was your impression of the event overall in PWG in general?
I was very pleasantly surprised. All of the matches were, either entertaining, hard to watch because of the brutality.
Oh,
And maybe aside from, like I said earlier, the Cedric Alexander and Bobby Fish, the length of that match, I was like, I kind of wish this would have gone on a little longer. But then you get to the championship match, and it goes on forever, and you're like, geez, I don't know how this happens. I was really happy because I'm not a big indie wrestling guy. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've seen some ROH stuff, Ring of Honor stuff, and I had watched as much Wrestle Kingdom 9 as I could before I passed out because it was so long. But I was really happy to see the crowd so into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the wrestlers feeding off the crowd feeding off the wrestlers. You could tell that they were all genuinely happy to be there, giving it their all, and that's what you want to see. Is people having fun, being entertained, giving it all, not just dialing it in, and that's what makes a great wrestling match.
Yes. People
Good time
enjoying
is
the contest in the ring. Yeah, this event was filled with so many great moments throughout, and one of which I forgot, and I had written it down, and I forgot to bring it up. One of which including the great "What's Up" spot with ACH and AR Fox
Before the 3D.
Before the 3D, well, like right before the 3D, where you see ACH hold the legs up of one of the Young Bucks. With AR Fox on the turnbuckle behind him, so he looks around and goes like over the back of his head. To which AR Fox does the headbutt,
the swanton,
rotating in midair. Yeah, swanton headbutt in midair was just a fantastic moment. That on top of the great moments in the Young Bucks, Brian Cage, Wuhan Nation. They provided great moments. The World's Cutest Tag Team. So many great moments throughout, and this is why I love PWG.
Also, I would be remiss if I did not say the best commentator in wrestling. Big shout out to Excalibur. He's the man.
Yes, he is the man. Yeah, that consistency throughout the event of the commentary, when there's always a different second guy, well, at least for big chunks of the show, is the big part of that is Excalibur. It's just fantastic. Deej, what is your kind of summation takeaway of this show and hearing what the guys thought?
Anyone and everyone that has any inkling of an interest in professional wrestling, the genre, should watch Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Period.
Exactly. And that's all we have to say about that. This is why we always bring it up so many times. PWG is a recurring theme on the show for a reason, because it is one of the premier promotions out there, and it's just fantastic. But that's it for our thoughts on PWG. Shane, Wulfegang, what do you got going on? What do you want to promote? What's your thing on the internet people want to point people to?
Well, like you said, I come from the Drunk Kids Gaming friendly community. I hang out with them a lot. I'm not I'm not a big streamer. I don't do many podcasts or anything like that. I do occasionally guest appear on one of my other friends' podcasts, Corrupt Ronin, who does actually he's doing right now. I kind of skipped that. I was like, yeah, I've got another thing to do, so I'm gonna skip out on yours. Sorry. I will occasionally guest appear on his, where their main focus is anime and video games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about any of those.
If you're big into anime, definitely check his out.
Jack,
Speaking
anime?
Speaking of anime,
Nope.
Speaking of anime and Professor Layton, Jack D.
He did his research. God damn, I've been caught. All right, well, here's where I out myself. Anime 3000 podcast. I'm a regular on there on Saturdays. When I'm not, I am live drawing the show and then posting a comic later that week before the appearance of the next podcast.
It's like I got my own Lynn Peralta, Petey. That's great.
Yes. She's probably just as short.
I am very small. I lived off of a daily diet of caffeine for a very, very long time from a very young age. Other than all the delicious Anime 3000 stuff, you can find me at Jack D Tyler D. I will be posting videos of speed draws that I do on Saturdays. Next Saturday will be surprise, surprise, Professor Layton anniversary post. So look forward to that. Probably be a lot of test footage for speedrun that David so kindly asked me to do of a game that has no right to be speedrun at all, and that is Professor Layton: The Curious Village. And I'm also just generally a good person with open mind and good thoughts.
Yes.
She's my developmental project, you guys. She's my developmental project. I'm Triple H and she's Kevin Owens.
Yes.
Wow.
Deej, what do you got going on over at Delta Juliet, Mike?
Well, I'm fighting with iTunes again because they're not updating my podcast feeds.
iTunes!
However, if you do want to subscribe to Shooting the Shit with Two Nerdy Black Guys, the Nanashi Anime Podcast, also on anime3000.com, you can do that over at my website, deltajulietmike.com, the military phonetic spelling of my initials, DJM. If you feel so inclined as to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at JustCallMeDJM. Like a fish called Wanda, you say the whole thing. As Jack previously mentioned, I am the host of the A3K podcast, Saturday evenings, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for anime3000.com. For the future of anime and manga, go to anime3000.com. Also, coming up soon, I have a review, written style, on Asobi no Ikuyo, a.k.a. Cat Planet Cuties. anime3000.com.
I'm not familiar with any of that.
Band? Not a band.
Cat Planet Cuties!
Yes. So yeah, check that out. I'm at PD Rave. PD is in Williams. Rave is in Jimmy. All
that
in
is the
one
first
word.
time you've slipped up on that.
Oh.
Yes, it's like I've done this so many times. It's kind of become almost automatic. But yeah, we're here at Rebellion.net, FannyPackWrestling.com for this show. Rebellion.net for all the other shows. Record breakers this week. We're doing Toadies, which is going to be interesting. And Halijuku, of course, the lighthearted East Asian pop culture podcast. Where this week we're going to be talking about abuser dynamics and the cycle of abuse.
Oh.
Cheery stuff.
Sounds like a
yeah.
blast.
Fun times.
But yeah, check it out. Oh, yeah. Check it out on Relly.net. Subscribe to all the things. Check out all the things. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to start putting out other stuff other than just the video version of the podcast on there. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share, like, subscribe. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
If you are a wrestling fan, watch Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Period.
Fighting.
Never.
I'm not kidding. It's probably the best thing going.
Do it. Just do it. Come on, do it.
Kapow. Shebang.